imminent threat every time.
There's an imminent threat every time you are going home. You don't know who's walking behind you. You do not trust anyone. There's militia everywhere. A lot of people knowing us, recognizing our faces, so it's easy to reach us.
This Iraqi interpreter speaks of the dangers for those who worked with the U.S. Army since the 2003 invasion. To protect his identity, he preferred that we call him Khalid Zaki. Since the U.S. invasion in 2003, there have been many global media accounts of U.S.-affiliated Iraqis who have been hunted, tortured, raped, and murdered. The List Project to Resettle Iraqi Allies, a combined effort of U.S. attorneys and volunteers to help them gain refuge in America, estimates that at least 1,000 Iraqis working with the U.S. forces have been killed since 2003. Recognizing the incredible peril resulting from this work, the United States has created multiple programs to help Iraqis resettle in the U.S., but the promises made through these programs have not all been met, and as the time for the scheduled December 2011 withdrawal comes closer and the death threats increase, the need to fulfill the promises only grows larger.
For myself, I'm waiting since December.
Myself, I'm waiting since December 15th. I did the interview that day and I never got visa. I try and contact them and they say 6 months period. I wait the 6 months. I called them and they said, we don't know when we're going to get the visa, and they say be patient. But being patient means I can lose my life, and I don't want to lose my life.
Militant hit lists have long indicated the danger, but now the threats are increasing. According to Agence France Presse, anti-American Shiite cleric Moqtada al-Sadr recently said that these Iraqis, especially translators and interpreters, are outcasts who need to be rejected. Shiite and Sunni militia groups have publicly announced a strategic plan to hunt and kill U.S. affiliates once the withdrawal is complete. According to the List Project, the published plan calls for 9 bullets for the traitors. Most real, the United States' deadline for withdrawal by the end of the year is fast approaching and has left Iraqis like Zaki increasingly worried about their safety once U.S. troops are gone.
Just imagine if U.S. Army left
and our visas are not issued yet, which is very soon because the U.S. Army is leaving Iraq in December, which means we have 5 months left, no more than that. The U.S. Army leaves. What are we going to do? You'll see a massacre in Iraq. We feel abandoned and betrayed by the U.S. Army.
Michael Newton, professor of law at Vanderbilt University, maintains that the withdrawal will put the Iraqis who collaborated with the U.S. at huge risk.
Many of these people took refuge on our bases, in some cases took refuge with their families. They'd leave their homes, and then of course when we shut those bases down or we transition them back, they have no place to go.
Many Iraqis did not foresee that they would not be protected by the U.S. Newton explains that many felt the United States would help bring about a more stable and peaceful Iraq.
In the vast majority of cases, they were motivated by patriotism. At the very end of our Declaration of Independence, the last line of our declaration says, "We pledge our lives and our fortunes and our sacred honor for the sake of these principles." And so the Iraqis that stood with U.S. forces did exactly the same thing. These people have fought alongside U.S. forces. They've translated. They've saved lives. There are many, many anecdotal accounts of them literally taking bullets for American soldiers. I mean, you name it, they've done it in order to try to bring about a free Iraq based on democratic principles. They really risk everything.
The danger for these Iraqis is evident, and the worries regarding the U.S. withdrawal are not unfounded. When the United States left Vietnam in 1975, 170,000 Vietnamese allies remained, according to a Philadelphia Inquirer column by Trudy Rubin, and thousands were murdered as a result. Large numbers of coalition affiliates were assassinated after a British withdrawal from southern Iraq. In one case, reported globally, 17 translators were killed in a single attack in Basra. Members of the List Project and other groups across America are trying to get these U.S. affiliates to the States. They aim to help Iraqis navigate the complex resettlement programs begun by the U.S., one of which is through the Special Immigrant Visa, or SIV, program. The National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2006 created SIVs for 50 Iraqi and Afghan military translators per year. The Refugee Crisis in Iraq Act of 2007 led to the so-called Kennedy Bill. As of 2008, it is intended to provide 5,000 visas per year to a broader group of Iraqis who were employed by the U.S. government and are now in danger. The legislation allots 25,000 SIVs over 5 years until 2013. The program has not been as successful as hoped, however, says Wendy Witt, an immigration lawyer. She created the Iraqi Refugee Resettlement Program through her private practice after serving in Baghdad's court system on active duty with the Air Force. Witt argues that the program has fallen far below its promises.
The program has been a disaster, and even though the Obama administration insists that they are behind this program, they've done nothing to fix the problems that have been in place ever since the program was launched in 2008. None of these issues are new, and none of them could have been called unpredicted.
The SIV program is not by any estimation fulfilling the numbers it had set for Iraqi refugees. When called, a State Department representative relayed that 7,063 SIVs for principal applicants and their dependents or spouses and minors have been issued from both programs. That means that at least 15,000 SIVs intended for Iraqis have still not been issued. Looking more recently, the State Department's SIV arrivals online data from 2011 shows numbers decreasing from over 100 in January to the single digits in March and April of this year. Khalid Zaki is waiting in anguish.
But right now, no one has visa. 7 people got theirs in March, and no one knows what the exception is for those people that they get their visas.
Zaki has been approved by the National Visa Center for his SIV. The problem is that the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad has yet to provide it, along with his passport, to him. Olga Oliker, a senior policy analyst at the RAND Corporation, a policy think tank with an emphasis on military affairs, believes the delays are a result of a sticky bureaucratic process. In order to get an SIV, you must have documented proof of employment from a present or former military personnel and proof of threat. She says the proof of employment can be incredibly difficult for Iraqis to obtain. Many military personnel are impossible to track down, and some have already returned to the U.S. To add to the mix, media outlets like the New York Times have recently reported that there are new security checks for all refugee applications, saying they are the result of 2 Iraqi refugees in Kentucky who were indicted on terrorism charges. These new checks, according to the Times and the List Project, seem to be the reason for the delays. In June, 0 applicants were accepted from the SIV program. The same State Department employee confirmed that delays in the program have been caused by new security screenings. Oliker says this is simply not okay.
Why has it slowed down like this? It's incumbent on us to fix that because, yes, the whole purpose of this program is to help people who are in danger. So if we can't do it quickly, then we're sort of diminishing its value.
Witt agrees that the program is not accomplishing its purpose and that the U.S. has a direct obligation to help the U.S. government employed Iraqis. Without changes in the program, though, she believes the government will never fulfill this responsibility.
The implication is going to be that Iraqi refugees who already have their applications in the system are going to see additional delays, that very few SIV applications are going to actually go to completion because of the security situation. Many are going to have to make the difficult decision to leave Iraq to save their own lives. Unless they make significant changes and fix the problems that are just rampant in it, I see it just going down as a complete failure.
Witt strongly believes that the State Department needs to allow representatives, either family members who might speak better English or lawyers, for example, to take part in the program. She says this, plus specific caseworkers assigned to each applicant, would streamline the program, helping people to navigate the bureaucratic process and thereby increase its effectiveness. It seems unlikely that the State Department will make such changes, though.
I believe people don't understand how much that the Iraqis, that the SIV program was generated for, has really helped us and the U.S. forces in Iraq. You know, our lives depended many times on our translators and other Iraqi employees who were able to let us know what the situation really was on the ground in Iraq. And people who haven't worked in Iraq, they don't understand that.
Likewise, Oliker says the issue has received very little media attention since 2007, when the Bush administration, under hot criticism, revamped its policies to expedite the process for U.S.-affiliated Iraqis to get their visas. Since then, she says, America has forgotten about the issue, and with the scheduled drawdown fast approaching, has essentially forgotten about Iraq as an issue. Olaker believes the delays with the SIV program are sending the wrong kind of message to the Iraqis.
There is a responsibility on the part of the United States government to make a genuine effort to take care of people who gave their all to help a cause that we went in espousing, and not to leave them in danger as we withdraw.
Newton agrees, arguing that the U.S. government is tearing at its moral fiber by allowing so many Iraqis to wait with their families in danger.
The United States has an unflinching moral obligation to keep our promises. These people acted heroically alongside us. Hundreds of Iraqis have died, been slaughtered, been murdered, along with their families, for assisting the United States. There are many more that are left that we simply cannot abandon, sustain on our national honor if we don't absolutely keep our promises.
Newton says not only will Iraqis be hurt, but that the U.S. will also suffer major consequences.
And of course it has an impact on both current and future operations. We absolutely depend on local allies for a huge range of resources and assistance. To the extent that we cannot get that in this or in any future conflict, it dramatically undercuts our military effectiveness.
So, how to change the program? The push, Newton says, needs to come from the highest levels.
I think it takes presidential commitment. It takes somebody who says, what are United States values? When the United States makes a promise, we keep it.
Until that happens, Iraqis like Khalid Zaki will be waiting. Zaki says that at his military base alone, there are at least 30 translators waiting with their paperwork approved, but with the same response from the U.S. Embassy. They cannot estimate how long the processing will take. If the U.S. does not answer them in time, they know they will have to find another solution to save themselves and their families.
Right now, we don't know. We are right in the middle.
Right now, we are in the middle of nowhere. We don't know if we go to the United States or stay in Iraq. If they don't want to give us a visa, let us know so we can take care of ourselves. Like go to another country or try to live in another province. Move our families, move ourselves.
People from groups like the List Project and Witt's Private Practice will continue to fight for these Iraqis. Meanwhile, as the drawdown in Afghanistan also begins, Afghans who worked with the U.S. government will face increased danger as well. If the SIV program does not speed up soon, the wars may be ending, but thousands more lives may be lost. For War News Radio, I'm Elliana Bisgaard-Church.